Welcome to Let's Talk Sports, and today we are here with my biased Chiefs preview for Week 10. Yes, I'm a Chiefs fan. I like to give these games a little bit more. So if you're new here and you haven't seen them before, this is what I do every week because I like the Chiefs and I want to give their games a little bit more time, and I want to discuss what I like to see from my team against the opponent that they are playing. Now, let's start with the Raiders. This team has obviously been through a lot of distractions. You had issues earlier this season with Damon Arnett. You've had Henry Ruggs having issues. John Gruden's gone. I mean, that team has been facing a lot of distractions this year, so I don't know how much it's affecting them because last week against the Giants, they didn't look particularly good. They had 3 turnovers. Derek Carr had a pick 6, a fumble that cost them the game. Now, they do get Deshaun Jackson, who is going to help with their deep threat. But the Raiders, they're coming off a pretty bad loss against the Giants. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that the Chiefs can probably take from that game and use in this game. So let's start off by looking at the Chiefs' defense. Continue playing well. I've thoroughly enjoyed the way that they've played defense the last few weeks. I really, really have. But there's one problem with the defense that still sticks out like a sore thumb, and that's Daniel Sorensen. I love the guy. He's made some big plays in the playoffs for us this year, but his pass coverage has been terrible. He's missing tackles left and right. I think Daniel Sorensen, he's got to go. He's got to be benched for the rest of the season. There's really no reason at this point really to play him anymore in the secondary, especially when you have guys like Snead, Fenton, Ward, Thornhill, and Matthew. Those guys are a solid core of secondary players. There's no reason to play Sorensen anymore. His story's great, undrafted, played Kansas City, made some big plays, but there's probably no reason at all to play Daniel Sorensen anymore. And then there's things that I've liked from the defense the last few weeks that I really want to see them continue to do. Playing Chris Jones in the middle. I know I've said it a million times and I probably can't say it enough. His value in the middle cannot be replaced. His ability just to disrupt the middle of that offensive line of whatever team he's playing. And I really want to see him get pressure on Derek Carr because I think him, Frank Clark, and there is a guy who's quietly been very good, Derek Nottie, who's been playing good. You have Melvin Ingram, who made his presence felt last week against the Packers. That defense last week, I know it was Jordan Love. I can't get too high on it, but still, there's definitely things you can take away from that game and be like, oh, that was fantastic. I really like to see what they were doing, and I want to see them continue to do it. So Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, Frank Clark, Melvin Ingram, solid to great defensive line that I like. Frank Clark has finally been playing up to his potential. That Frank Clark that was so good in the playoffs a couple years back to get the Chiefs to the Super Bowl. Obviously, I love seeing him. Everybody called him out. Everybody called out everybody on the team on Twitter. We were called a toxic fan base. It is what it is. But this team on the defensive side of the ball has definitely picked it up and played much, much better than they have to start the season. They had the Giants game, and then they had now the Packers game. They put together 2 really good defensive performances together right away, or back to back, and it's been very, very nice to see from this defense, a defense that was on a historically bad pace, putting together great performances back to back, and I really am glad to see them continuing improving on what they are. This defense is probably going to be one of those bend don't break defenses. They're probably going to give up a lot of yards every week. But I think their main goal now is when they get into Chiefs territory is to just limit them to field goals or try to force them into mistakes. Because I don't see this defense being one of those that are going to hold people to under 300 yards a game. I don't see that. They're probably going to give up that 325, 400 range still. But their goal, I think, at this point is to not break while they're doing it. So I think if this defense turns into like one of those bend but don't break kind of defenses, I think they'll be all right. Maybe even force a couple turnovers. Like I said, Derek Carr did not have a very good game last week. He had 3 turnovers, the two interceptions, the pick 6, and the fumble that cost him the game. So I think if the Chiefs can force Derek Carr into interceptions, and defensively, they need to maybe possibly look back at the game film from last year's game when the Chiefs played at Arrowhead against the Raiders, because that was terrible. That the defense that week was so pitiful. It gave up deep shot after deep shot. That defense looked terrible. And I think it was the week 5 matchup last year in Arrowhead. That was awful. The Chiefs cannot replicate that. If the Chiefs can avoid a game like that, I think they will be fine. But that is a game they cannot replicate. and just continue playing a good run defense. I don't know. There's people that still doubt the Chiefs defense. Maybe I am biased when I'm saying it, but their run defense, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, their defense, I think, has been stepping up, playing very well recently. And, I think the Raiders are going to try to use Deshaun Jackson as a deep threat in replacement of Henry Ruggs. So I think that, if they can do that, limit him, limit the run, don't let Derek Carr throw all over him like, he's done the last couple of years. I think the Chiefs have a very, very good chance defensively of having a really good game. Now let's look at the Chiefs offense. First and foremost, they're going to have to stop Max Crosby. He has had a very good year. He has 5 sacks this year. He's disrupting. He's playing very good football. He's the Raiders' arguably one of, if not their best defensive player on that team. He is definitely having a very solid season. 5 sacks. That's not something the Chiefs want to, take lightly of. The offensive line, it needs to continue to play. And if we're talking about the offensive line, Wiley never needs to play again. That performance last week was awful. He could not protect to save his life. I think he was playing on the right side, and boy, he was struggling last week. So that's something that they probably looked at. But I think the Chiefs, do get Kyle Long. I know he was at practice this week. Do I know if he's playing? I don't. They also got Clyde back. Do I know if he's playing? I do not. There's not really any news yet of them playing. I just know they're back. So eventually, if they get Kyle Long on that offensive line, get Clyde back, I think the offense will be definitely a little bit better, especially on the offensive line. Lucas Niang going down definitely is going to hurt the team because he's been playing fairly solid. I think he's a very, very good piece of that offensive line. Definitely he can use some work, but he's better than Wiley. Rimmers, I think I'm not a big fan of his either, I'll be honest. Not necessarily a big fan of his. So, yeah, offensively, the offensive line, I think, has a lot of work that needs to be done. And then, offensively, they looked bad last week. They looked awful. They were missing deep balls. Mahomes had Kelsey wide open in the field multiple times. He had checkdowns left and right that he could easily take. There were short passes he easily could have had, and it doesn't help when receivers like McCole Hardman are dropping passes that would easily have gotten a first down. Because the Chiefs weren't looking for the home run ball necessarily every play. They had short down and distance, and they were trying to get the first down just by a short, little 5 yards and then straight to the sideline kind of throws, and they were dropping those. So they really can't be dropping passes this week against the Raiders. That it's a divisional opponent. Everybody's going to be bringing their best, especially with the Chiefs-Raiders game. They're going to be bringing their best, so the Chiefs cannot be dropping passes. But they did have a full game where they had 0 turnovers. I think that was the first time since week 1 that had been a thing. So that's definitely a positive that came from the Chiefs game that I'm very happy to see. Very happy to see. But like I said, the offense, rhythm-wise, they still looked off. Mahomes is still looking for that deep shot. Kelsey's missing him. Kelsey dropped a couple passes. And then, they say the Chiefs don't run the ball. I watch a lot of sports stuff throughout the week, and they say they don't run the ball well. I might just be biased, and I just might be missing something. But I think they run the ball. When they do it well. They don't do it enough, but they do it well. Darrell Williams in place of Clyde has been running well. Derek Gore's been playing well in place of Clyde. They've been running the ball very well. Maybe they don't run it enough, and that's maybe why people think they don't run the ball well. But I think they run the ball well when they do it. I really do. That offensive line, when it comes to running, is very, very good at getting some holes and allowing the Chiefs to run the ball. So maybe I'm missing something, but I think the Chiefs definitely are solid at running the ball when they do it. And yeah, but just by running it, maybe the reason why they think their run offense is bad, like I said, they don't do it enough, but because they don't do it enough, those safeties still play really deep, and they're like, fine, we'll let you run the ball 5, because the Chiefs are averaging 4.8 yards a carry. So they're like, yeah, we'll let you run those 5 yards. We'll make you get into a passing situation. We'll just cover the guys deep, and then you won't be able to make those. So I think if the Chiefs run the ball more, it'll force the Raiders to stack the box a little bit more, and that'll, allow Mahomes to take those deep shots, make some play action throws. Those deep shots haven't been there this year, but if they keep running the ball, it'll force teams to eventually stack the box. And that will hopefully open up the passing lanes for Mahomes to get him. And it's not even like Mahomes is bad at throwing the football. He's just not hitting his reads right. Like, he's had many chances this year where he could hit Kelsey on the short pass when he was wide open, hit Hill on a short pass, hit the running back for the check down on the short pass. It's just, I don't think these things are all fixable, that are fixable by watching film, executing them in practice. So the offense has been very broken recently. You know, a lot of mistakes that they've made themselves, but also just not being there for, you know, their chemistry. You know, I hate to say their chemistry is off, but, you know, Mahomes and his receivers have been off this year. And I think that's definitely, you know, and I probably mentioned it too much, but that throw to ice the game against the Packers last week on a 3rd and 10, Mahomes rolled out to his right, hit Tyreek Hill on a perfect pass. That was the vintage Mahomes that we like to see. And I think that hopefully, because Aaron Rodgers even said it, there could be one play that can get the team back and the confidence that they need. I think that if they do that against the Raiders, a divisional opponent where Mahomes, you know, remember there was a few years back, he had over 200 yards passing and 4 touchdowns in the second quarter. You know, the Chiefs definitely still have the talent to do it. You know, maybe McCall Hardman's not a wide receiver too. They don't use Josh Gordon at all. Demarcus Robinson doesn't really produce much. You have Byron Pringle. He can make a great catch from here and there. He's not really a factor. It's literally just Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. And when Clyde's there, and that's the thing. When Clyde does come back, I think that'll help the offense immensely. Because Clyde is he's a great running back out of the backfield. Maybe I'm overstating that, but I think Clyde is a very good running back coming out of the backfield. So, yeah, there's a lot of things they have to do. Like I said, they can't let Max Crosby go crazy because he's probably one of the Raiders' best defensive players that they have. I mean, Njoku, he's also a very solid guy on that defense for the Raiders. KJ Wright, veteran, he's been there a long time. He's good. And then Jonathan Abram, I think he's been one of the guys that the Raiders, you know, may have wished they didn't pick because he has a tendency to get beat quite a bit. But yeah, the Chiefs, they have potential. They just need that confidence. They got that swagger back. They were playing a very, very good defense in the Packers last week. I think the Packers might be one of the most underrated defenses in football right now. I don't think they get talked about enough because they talk about the Patriots defense playing well. You know, that's one of them. You know, the Panthers defense, as much as, you know, their offense is bad, their defense gets a lot of love. You know, the Titans defense has definitely stepped up and played well this year. No, the Cardinals defense, man, that Cardinals defense, but the Packers defense, underrated, very, very good defense. And, you know, the Chiefs, I don't think they've been figured out. I think they're stuck in their way. And the best way to get back on track is to play a divisional opponent, play the Raiders, come back, kick their butts, make a statement that the AFC West is still theirs, show them the Raiders are a team that can beat the bad teams, struggle to beat the good teams, and even lose to some bad teams. So these are the things that I'm looking for the Chiefs wise in this game. I'm very excited to watch this game. Sunday Night Football, under the big lights. It's going to be really fun. You can never go wrong with a Chiefs-Raiders matchup. They're always fun to watch. They're always intense. They're always intriguing. We're always invested in those. So thank you guys so much for watching my Chiefs preview this week. Give me your thoughts down below. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you in the next one.